HubSpot is promoting their CRM. It's free, it's integrated with marketing, and allegedly you can keep all things in one place. Well, in some areas it surprised me, in some disappointed, and in some I just confirmed my existing biases. So what is HubSpot? Is it CRM? Is it a marketing tool? Is it altogether? In this video, I'll cover what HubSpot is, the company behind it, and who this product is really designed for. I'll explore the user experience, interface, and how easy or hard it is to implement. I'll walk you through key features and show you the mobile app. We'll look at the product support, documentation, community, and of course, available consultants. For more technical folks watching, I'll deep dive into integrations, data model, and scalability. And finally, I'll tackle HubSpot pricing and total cost of ownership, which is surprisingly complex because they have a really complex billing model. At the end, I'll give you my honest take on whether I'd actually use this thing, but let's start with the context. HubSpot was founded in 2006 by Brian Halligan and Dharmesh Shah. Hopefully I pronounced their names properly. They went public in 2014, and you can really tell the difference between companies that are publicly traded versus those that aren't. We'll touch on this later in this video. HubSpot basically popularized inbound marketing. That's the idea where you create content that naturally attracts customers. Now, I'm not saying they invented it, but they definitely helped make it mainstream. I actually learned a lot from their content over the years. They really know how to create valuable educational materials. HubSpot positions itself as a customer platform, essentially a hub where you can manage all your customer interactions in one place. For me, HubSpot was always a marketing-first platform, yet I was always curious to see what it looks like from the inside. In many ways, I'm making this video as much for myself as for you. But let's see, which brings me to the positioning of HubSpot, or in other words, who this product is for. HubSpot targets small to medium-sized companies, typically with 10 to 200 employees. They work especially well for B2B SaaS companies or businesses that sell software to other businesses, professional services or agencies, consultants, and IT service providers, hardware companies, think like computer components, camping gear, physical products. Education and nonprofits, they even have special features just for educational institutions inside their platform. And e-commerce and so-called D2C or direct-to-consumer brands. What ties all these companies together is one thing. Many of them rely heavily on marketing automation. And that's exactly where HubSpot shines. But probably even more important is who HubSpot is not for. Well, HubSpot isn't a good fit for large enterprise corporations because it lacks customizability. Highly regulated industries like banking, healthcare, or insurance. Industries that need heavily customized data models like car dealerships, for example. The thing with HubSpot is it's what we call opinionated software. Think of it this way. You could hire a compliant employee who just follows orders, or you could hire a talented expert who has strong opinions about how things should be done. So in one case, you will have someone who follows orders and basically does whatever you say. In the other case, you get an expert who basically doesn't follow any orders and does the thing how he thinks it should be done best. HubSpot is like that expert. It has built-in logic and processes that you need to follow to use it successfully. There are many situations where it basically dictates how you should handle your sales and marketing processes, which is a great time to cover user interface of HubSpot. The first thing you notice is how different the workspace feels from traditional CRM software. A lot of companies are moving in this direction, but it's still pretty unique. You've got these main sections: CRM, marketing, content, sales, commerce, and service. What's interesting is that what they call CRM is really just a handful of basic entities like contacts, companies, leads, deals, and tickets. This confused me at first. Everything else is organized by function rather than traditional CRM logic. When you go into the CRM section, you see these tables, but honestly, they don't feel like they're designed for daily work. This tells you something important about HubSpot's philosophy. They think about CRM work organization very, very differently. They have a separate sales module with different zones: target accounts, documents, meeting scheduler, sequences, and activity feed. The idea is that you jump between these specialized modules to get things done. The one exception is Deals, which uses familiar Kanban board layout where you can manage your pipeline. When I first started this review, I had a hard time figuring out how everything worked because the interface is so different. I can't say it's better or worse, it's just different from what most people are used to. Now, traditional systems are built around logical entities. In sales, you typically have accounts, contacts, deals, and proposals, or quotes, depends on the system. But here in sales section, you see lists. Why lists? What's all the lists? The answer is simple. HubSpot isn't really a traditional CRM system. It's not a system where you look up a contact and make a call. Well, you could do that theoretically, but HubSpot is designed to build sales funnels and map out customer journeys. That's why it looks so different. Overall, the interface is clean, well organized, and pretty intuitive once you get hang of it. I didn't encounter any bugs or lag. Everything feels polished and runs smoothly. It's clean, professional, and obtrusive. Choosing the right CRM system can be tough, but I have a solution. I've created a free tool that will match you with the perfect CRM for your business in just a few minutes. Now, how it works: you message me on WhatsApp, I ask you a few questions about your business, you receive a personalized recommendation based on your specific needs. I'm constantly expanding the list of industries I cover, and right now you can get a recommendation completely free of charge. So don't miss out. This service might become paid in the future. Click the WhatsApp link in the description to this video below. You could work in the system all day without it getting in your way. But here's the problem. You will need to invest time learning how to use it properly. Well, probably just with like every other system, just with this one, it's slightly more things to learn. Which brings me to a very important question. How easy or hard is it to implement HubSpot? HubSpot is one of the few CRM systems that charges a mandatory onboarding fee when you buy a subscription. You literally have to pay them to train yourself and help you set everything up. This tells you something important. They know their product is complex and has a steep learning curve. The onboarding fee serves another purpose too. Once you've paid that extra cost, you are more committed to making it work. From a data import and setup perspective, it's pretty complex. When you're importing data, you need to understand how their data model works and how relationships between different objects are structured. It's not super intuitive in terms of ease of use. This is the trade-off you get with flexibility, though I'm not entirely convinced HubSpot actually provides that much of flexibility. I'd rate HubSpot as having medium to high implementation complexity and probably high user adoption complexity. It's just very different, though compared to Salesforce, it's much easier. There are some bright spots though. They have this cool feature called fill rate under data management and properties. It shows you how well your fields are populated and can help you identify unnecessary fields, which is a big advantage to the user adoption in the future. HubSpot offers industry templates for real estate, healthcare, and education. You can use these templates to get a data model set up right out of the box. They also have something interesting, AI feature called trees that can supposedly generate data models for specific use cases. In practice, it doesn't create truly custom models. For example, if you are a car dealer and ask trees to set up your system, it won't suggest creating a vehicle object, even though that's essential for automotive CRM systems. HubSpot does allow custom objects though, but only on their enterprise plans. More on this in my technical review part. Which brings me to feature highlight section of this review. And let's start with what they call ABM, or account-based marketing. This isn't just a feature, it's a whole philosophy built into their system. ABM is marketing focused on a specific target accounts. Let's say you are a B2B consultant company and you want to land HP as a client. You can add HP as a target account and start nurturing that specific account, creating content for them, studying their decision makers, connecting with them on LinkedIn. I haven't seen this kind of functionality anywhere else. You can actually create campaigns designed to attract specific companies you've chosen. This works really well for companies doing targeted outreach instead of broad spray and pray marketing. Another standout feature is their list functionality. They come in two types, static and dynamic. Dynamic lists use filters and criteria to automatically include contacts who meet certain criteria. You can then run email sequences or automations on these lists. For example, you could create a list of everyone who bought from me in the last 30 days or customers who haven't purchased in 90 days. If you have connected your e-commerce store to HubSpot, this happens automatically. This is incredibly useful. I've had clients ask for this kind of segmentation before, and we had to build it in separate BI tools. Having it built into your CRM is really convenient and fairly unique. Again, this feature is more valuable for marketers than individual salespeople, which reinforces that HubSpot is more of a marketing hub than a traditional CRM system. Now, another interesting feature is so-called coaching playlists. HubSpot lets you record calls made through their system. By the way, they use Twilio, which I don't like, to say the least. But anyway, you can save your best calls into coaching playlists that you can listen to later, like Spotify playlists, but for sales calls. I haven't seen this in other CRM systems, and it's unusual and genuinely helpful. Up next, playbooks. These are interactive sales scripts, basically designed questionnaires. You can ask questions and guide prospects through a script, entering their responses as you go. You can even set up multiple choice answers, give the prospect 3 options, and click the one they chose, and it gets saved into the system. Their AI, called Breeze, uses these responses to create account summaries, which is pretty clever. Speaking of account summaries, this is another interesting feature. In Salesforce, this kind of AI-powered summary is a paid add-on, which is called Salesforce. HubSpot includes it out of the box. It's like feeding all your customer data into ChatGPT and asking for a summary. I know this might seem gimmicky, but if you're selling every day and working with lots of accounts, it's actually really helpful. If you're visiting the same account for the 3rd time in one day, you might forget what happened earlier, especially if it's 100th account on the list. The account summary saves you from having to scan through everything manually. Here's another example. Imagine you are calling a customer support and customer support agent has no idea who is calling. Now, this account summary solves this exact problem. Next time you're calling a company that uses HubSpot, that uses account summary, the customer support agent will know exactly who you are because of this account summary, so you don't have to explain yourself 100th time when you're calling a customer support. Next, sequence. This is where things get interesting and potentially problematic. You can set up sequences that combine automated emails with manual tasks. But here's my experience. When I signed up for HubSpot, within 2 days, they had spammed me into oblivion. I got about 8 emails in one day. 8 emails. That's insane. This reveals the dark side of HubSpot. Because they push email first thinking so hard, system administrators can easily create spam bots that annoy anyone who gets added to their lists. Their email everything philosophy led them to spam me so badly that I just blocked their domain in my email app. In European culture especially, that volume of emails feels like a violation of personal space. You can easily lose control and create an inappropriate number of touchpoints, which brings me to the mobile experience of HubSpot, which is very important if you are on the go. The mobile app has a pleasant design and logical navigation. They have a co-pilot feature where you can supposedly chat with CRM system, but looking at the suggested questions, most of them are marketing related. Honestly, Copilot feels pretty useless for actually working with CRM data. It doesn't seem to have access to your actual data, at least not when I tested it. When I asked for my best accounts, it just gave me instructions on how to use the system. And I think it's basically a support chatbot disguised as an AI assistant. That said, the app itself is really well designed. You can tell they built it separately from desktop version. It's not just a mobile wrapper. It has beautiful animations and even does micro vibrations on iPhone when you tap buttons. The calling functionality works well. You tap call, make the call, and after you hang up, it prompts you to save call notes. Same with emails. They have an internal email client that syncs with your regular emails, so you can send templated emails from your phone. This is actually really convenient. If a lead comes in while you are traveling and you need to send a quick response or proposal, you don't need to get to your computer. The task management works well from mobile, though it doesn't auto-populate titles and doesn't show recent records by default. The search function is excellent. It searches across contacts, companies, and deals in separate tabs, and even searches through activities. The log activity feature is really thoughtfully designed. You can quickly log activity types, set follow-up tasks, and they give you convenient time options: 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and so on. Unlike Salesforce, it handles related records really well. Want to create a ticket? Just tap the plus button, create a new ticket, and everything works smoothly. The forms are a bit complex, but that's because they handle lots of different field types. It's essentially a simplified database interface. Overall, I really like the mobile app. It's fast, responsive, and pleasant to use. I can't think of anything bad to say about it, which brings me to the reporting and analytics section of this video. The analytics are interesting, though I didn't have tons of data to work with since I was just testing the system. Here's where you see HubSpot's philosophy once again. For basic reporting, you can create single object reports, just like deals or accounts, which are companies in HubSpot world, or multi-object reports like all accounts with orders above $100. But they also have two other report types that are pretty telling: attribution reports and funnel reports. Now, if you don't know, attribution reports help you figure out where customers actually came from so you can understand which marketing activities drive the best results. Again, this shows that the platform is primarily marketing focused. It's built for companies that actively run marketing campaigns, launch ads, and need to track the customer journey. Funnel reports are classic marketing analytics, tracking prospects through different stages and measuring conversion rates between stages. This is used in sales too, but it's fundamentally a marketing concept. Which brings me to a very important section of this review: platform support. And let's start with documentation. HubSpot's documentation is really good. Not exceptional, but definitely solid. What I like about it is how it's organized around practical needs rather than technical features. Instead of dry technical documentation, they structure it around questions like: how do I get a demo? How do I set up my accounts? How do I send ads to leads? How do I generate more sales? All their documentation is written in this applied practical format. You can tell their audience consists of people with specific business goals who are using HubSpot to solve practical problems. This is a strength, and actually I used their documentation when I was setting things up. It's practical and helpful, though it's aimed more at administrators and people implementing the system rather than end users. Also, in documentation, considering their tutorials, I can tell that it's a heavily marketing-focused platform rather than a conventional CRM system. A lot of topics are floating around marketing funnels, tracking, and so on. When it comes to technical documentation, they have a code sample library where you can see examples and learn how to build on their platform. It seems like they really want you to learn their extensions and start coding custom solutions. But there is one life hack they somehow don't mention anywhere. You can feed their code base to Claude or other AI tools to help you writing custom integrations and scripts without knowing how to program. I don't know how to code myself, but with Claude's help, I can build things on their platform. That's pretty powerful. Which brings me to another important aspect of any platform: its community. And HubSpot has a huge, absolutely massive community. And when I started exploring it, I got kind of sucked in. There are great articles, posts, and resources you could spend hours learning. They got HubSpot Academy, where they teach social media marketing, content marketing, digital marketing, inbound marketing, SEO, basically a full marketing education. It's free, and even experienced marketers can learn new things there. And again, it's mostly around marketing, which is yet another proof that they are marketing-first platform. HubSpot also acquires third-party resources. For example, they bought The Hustle, a popular marketing newsletter. They don't necessarily create HubSpot-specific content there, but the audience overlaps with HubSpot users, which is yet another hint who the HubSpot is for. They used to own inbound.org, which focused on content marketing and inbound strategies. The site now is closed, but HubSpot moved some of the discussions to their own community. The community is extensive and active. Only good things to say here, though I'll repeat myself again. It's focused around marketing. If you compare Salesforce and HubSpot communities, you see a clear difference. Salesforce has a very technical community, lots of developers and people with technical backgrounds solving complex and very niche problems. On the other hand, HubSpot's community is more marketers solving practical problems, creating email sequences, studying best practices, learning about trends, writing better headlines, using AI tools, and generally building low-code solutions oriented on converting prospects into clients in masses rather than individually. The communities have completely different vibes, which confirms that HubSpot isn't really a traditional CRM. It's more of a marketing platform built around customer relationships, which brings me to the topic of consultant and third-party contractor availability. The consultant ecosystem is excellent. HubSpot really encourages this. I actually applied to become a HubSpot partner myself. Here's how it works. When you subscribe to professional or enterprise plans, there is normally a large onboarding fee, which we are going to talk about in a second. When you work with a HubSpot partner, they waive that fee. The customer can pay the partner instead of paying HubSpot directly. This incentivizes partners to bring new customers into the ecosystem. Why do they do this? Because the system is complex from a maintenance perspective. You need to create lots of content, manage lists, set up automations, and there is a lot of ongoing work. If you're a small business owner, you probably don't want to hire a full-time person for this, but you'd like someone to handle your marketing. That's where HubSpot consultants come in. The philosophy is different from Salesforce. With Salesforce, you typically do a project implementation and hand it off maybe with some minor maintenance. With HubSpot, you do initial implementation and then you provide ongoing services. But the ongoing service isn't technical. It's practical marketing work, creating content, writing emails, updating blogs, managing ad campaigns, and creating new campaigns. The ecosystem is large and growing, and HubSpot supports it financially, not just with lip service. They give partners that onboarding fee and also pay for customer referrals. The partner program is genuinely good, which is a great sign of healthy ecosystem and a great time to move to the technical part of this review. And let's talk about data model and so-called scalability. I mentioned earlier that HubSpot doesn't work well with companies with highly customized data models. Let me explain why. HubSpot does allow custom objects. If you are a car dealer, you can create a custom vehicle object with all the fields and relationships you need. HubSpot calls this relationships, by the way, associations. However, HubSpot has much fewer customization options compared to other platforms. Even Zoho, which is a simpler and cheaper than Salesforce, offers way more customization possibilities. In Zoho, you can create complex automation workflows. HubSpot has limited validation options, limited field types, and limited customizations overall. You cannot create different page layouts for different use cases. Here is a simple example. Let's say you have a business accounts and individual customers. In Salesforce, you can create person accounts to store both person and company information in one object, which makes reporting easier. Another example, you have deals, but you have 10 different types of deals. Maybe you sell to different industries with different sales processes. Salesforce lets you create different layouts, forms, and templates for any object. In HubSpot, you can only do this with deals. You can create different pipelines, but that's it. This is pretty rigid because the system is opinionated. It has strong opinions about how things should work, and if you follow those opinions, you'll be fine. If you don't, the platform won't work well for your needs. You need to evaluate how well the platform matches your company's philosophy, your brand, and how you do business. This isn't traditional CRM where you build internal automations, processes, and compliance workflows. The entire system focuses on marketing tools, email campaigns, ad campaigns, SMS campaigns, cold calls, SEO, social media marketing, integrations with LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on. HubSpot is not about internal processes or automating, let's say, order fulfillment. It's not about handling returns, checking inventory, processing refunds. It's not about internal process optimization. HubSpot is mostly about marketing automation and customer relationship automation. And custom objects are only available on the enterprise version, by the way, which tells a lot about their philosophy, which is a good time to talk about security and compliance. Not much to say about compliance. They handle GDPR well, and I didn't encounter any issues. On the security end, everything seems solid as well. The only incident I found was from 2012 when they had a social engineering attack that affected about 30 clients, mostly from crypto industry. That was a limited incident where someone tricked an employee into giving access and fraudulently extracted data. It's not great, but it's not a systemic problem either. These things happen and no one is completely immune. Overall, their security implementation seems appropriate and I wouldn't worry about it. Which brings me to the product quality discussion. And the performance is excellent. I didn't encounter any bugs or performance issues. The product feels very polished and well made, both on desktop and mobile. I am sure there are bugs somewhere, but that's true for any software, but I have other systems to compare it to. If you try Zoho, for example, you will see a completely different level of quality. I give HubSpot quality a solid 10 out of 10. In all my tests and data importing, I didn't hit a single error or bug in basic functionality. No problems at all. Even compared to Salesforce, the product quality and interface consistency are excellent. Everything is well designed with helpful hints throughout. You don't get the Salesforce experience where one screen looks modern and another looks like from 2005. Everything is beautiful, unified, consistent, thoughtful, and unobtrusive. I really like the clean interface that doesn't strain your eyes, which is a great time to talk about pricing. HubSpot has the most complex pricing I've ever seen. They have multiple products that are deeply integrated with each other, and it's incredibly difficult to figure out what you typically need. When I was testing HubSpot, I constantly ran into situations where a feature I wanted was in this plan, but another feature was in that plan, and a third feature required yet another subscription. It's confusing as hell. I won't go into specific prices since they change, but I'll give you general structure so you understand their pricing philosophy. They have 6 products: marketing, sales, service, content, operations, and commerce. Marketing Hub is designed for small teams. Their website says if you want more than 3 people using Professional Edition, you pay extra. Professional includes 3 seats, Enterprise includes 5 seats. This suggests their philosophy is small number of people and large audience reach. Next, Sales Hub, charges per seat. Funny enough, their plan names are identical to Salesforce: Starter, Professional, and Enterprise. I don't know who copied from whom. Sales and service are both per seat pricing because they are designed for individual users. HubSpot has some standout functionality around account-based marketing or ABM tools and automation. This is where you target specific companies and create customized marketing campaigns for them. I get a clear impression that their lower tier plans like Free and Starter exist mainly to get you hooked on HubSpot. You connect your email, set up integrations, migrate data, learn the system, and then start feeling limited because you're missing key features. You don't have forecasting, you're missing certain reports, and you cannot use playbooks on Starter, but you can on Professional. Little things that add up. Next, Service Hub follows the same pattern: $90 per seat for Professional, $150 for Enterprise. Note that marketing, sales, and service all have onboarding fees on top of the subscription costs. For Marketing Hub, if you want to have more than 3 users, you pay an additional $45 per user. The pricing structure is incredibly complex. Now, Content Hub. I won't comment much on this since it's not really a CRM anymore. It's more like a CMS on steroids. CMS means Content Management System. Next, Operations Hub. These are essentially automation tools. HubSpot's philosophy seems to be that you are a small team covering a large audience. And by the way, naming of this product is extremely misleading. At the beginning, I thought this is some sort of a product that would allow internal process automation, but apparently it's just raising your API call limits and limits inside the system overall for various automation purposes. All this CRM functionality in HubSpot feels focused on marketing side of sales, business development, and finding new customers. Pipeline management exists, but I don't love it. It doesn't work well for internal processes. It's designed for pipeline management and cold outreach, sales activities focused on customer acquisition. Next, Commerce Hub. It's very straightforward. They take a commission on each of the order. Now, did you understand anything? Well, me neither in the beginning. Here is a table that I've created for you, so just have a glance at their pricing and plans. Note that prices may change, but I believe architecture of the pricing will be at least similar, which brings me to the cost of ownership. When looking at buying HubSpot, you must factor in consultation and support costs from people who understand HubSpot. The total cost of ownership will be average, not high, not low, but it depends on your specific business. So when you consider buying HubSpot, start by understanding which plan fits your needs, and then add approximately similar amount you are paying monthly, multiply it by 2 or approximately 3, depending on where you live, and you will get approximate estimation of professional services costs you will be paying for. Which brings me to final part of this review, my personal take on HubSpot. When I started this review, I honestly expected to find exactly what I discovered. I knew going in that HubSpot is fundamentally a marketing platform, but they market themselves so aggressively as a CRM system, telling you it's free, that you should jump in right in, that your entire business can live in one place. And here's the thing. That's actually true, but only partially. It's true if your business happens to fit perfectly into the very specific problems HubSpot was designed to solve. But make no mistake, At its core, this is a marketing platform first. Marketing has to be your priority. If you are actively running marketing campaigns, if you have high lead volume that needs nurturing and automation, HubSpot is fantastic. But if you're looking for a traditional CRM, like if I needed to implement a system to manage 100 existing customers who buy from me regularly, track their information, manage their orders, handle support issues, run custom business processes, this isn't the right tool. HubSpot isn't that kind of a platform. What HubSpot actually is a sophisticated marketing automation tool that happens to have some CRM functionality bolted on. It's well built with a clean interface that stays out of your way. The customization options are limited, though the interface design suggests they might expand this in the future. Everything looks modular and platform-like. You see the building blocks that seem like they should be rearrangeable and customizable, but that functionality just isn't there yet. Here's my bottom line. I'd probably use HubSpot if I had three things: an unlimited budget, high lead volume, and substantial marketing spend. What's substantial? I'll let you decide that based on your own situation. It's genuinely it's a great product, but it's a product built around marketing that calls itself a CRM, not the other way around. They have redefined what CRM means to fit their marketing first philosophy. So the choice is yours. Drop me a comment and let me know, are you using HubSpot? Do you think of it as a real CRM system? And what CRM would you like me to review next? That's a wrap for today. If this was helpful, hit that subscribe button and give the video a like. It really helps more people to find these reviews. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Peace.